A very long time ago, people lived in fragile, mud-built houses, but their hearts were strong and unbreakable. In a small town with narrow streets and air filled with the scent of dust, life moved quietly, yet meaningfully. At the edge of that town stood an old, worn-out house, barely holding itself together. Its walls were cracked in many places, and the wooden roof had aged beyond repair. Inside that house lived an old man named Ethan. Ethan was growing old. Wrinkles covered his face, and his beard had turned completely white. He worked as a daily laborer. Every morning, before the sun even rose, he would wake up, wash himself with cold water, and sit quietly in a corner, speaking to his Creator. Ethan had no wealth, no power, no connections, but what he had was something far greater. He had unshakable faith, a faith stronger than mountains. At home, things were never easy. There were days when even the stove didn't light up. His wife, Mary, was just as patient and kind as he was. Together, they had spent their entire lives in poverty, but never once did they complain. Ethan believed one simple truth. The one who created us may test us with hunger, but he never abandons us. Holding on to that belief, every morning he would hang his worn-out bag over his shoulder, wear his torn slippers, and walk out in search of work. But this story was not just about poverty. It was also about betrayal from one's own blood. Ethan had a younger brother named Daniel. Daniel was the complete opposite. Where Ethan feared God, Daniel chased the world. Through dishonest means and greed, Daniel had built great wealth. Right across from Ethan's broken house stood Daniel's large, luxurious home. He had servants, expensive clothes, and every comfort imaginable. But sadly, he had no compassion. In fact, Daniel had his eyes on Ethan's small piece of land. He wanted Ethan gone so he could expand his storage business. Winter had arrived. The air had turned cold. One foggy morning, Ethan stood in the labor market, waiting, just like everyone else. Men stood there holding their tools with hope in their eyes, hoping someone would hire them. Ethan stood quietly in a corner, softly whispering his prayers. An hour passed, then two. One by one, contractors came and chose younger, stronger men. Ethan was ignored. "You're too old," someone said. "You won't be able to carry heavy loads," another added. By afternoon, the market was empty. Ethan was still standing there, hungry, exhausted. He hadn't eaten anything since the night before. As the call for afternoon prayer echoed, his hope began to fade. He looked up at the sky, took a deep breath. "My Lord, you know best." He turned back home with slow, tired steps. As he passed by a bakery, the smell of fresh bread filled the air. His hunger grew stronger, but he lowered his gaze and kept walking. When he reached his street, he saw Daniel sitting comfortably outside his house, smoking, dressed in expensive clothes. Daniel smirked. "Well, brother, empty-handed again? Looks like your God forgot you today, too." Those words cut deeper than any blade. Ethan paused, looked at him calmly, and said, "God never forgets anyone, Daniel. This is just a test." Daniel laughed loudly. "Faith doesn't feed you, brother. Sell me that old house. At least you'll live your last days in comfort." His eyes filled with tears, but his voice remained firm. "Dignity in hunger is better than comfort in disgrace." He walked away. At home, Mary opened the door. She saw his face and understood everything without asking a single question. Inside, the house was silent. The stove was cold. After prayer, she placed a bowl of water and a dry piece of bread in front of him. "I'm sorry, this is all we have." His heart broke. He broke the bread in half and gave her a piece. "We share everything, even this." They dipped the dry bread in water and ate it together. That night, while laughter and feasts echoed from Daniel's house, Ethan and Mary sat quietly, remembering God. Suddenly, loud knocking. It was Daniel. He held papers in his hand. "Sign this," he said. "Transfer the land to me. I'll give you enough money for generations." Ethan looked at him. "I will never trade my soul for this world." Daniel's face turned red with anger. "Fine," he shouted. "Stay hungry." He left. That night, hunger burned in their stomachs, but peace filled their hearts, because Ethan had not sold his faith. But he didn't know. The next day would test him even more.